What's up guys, welcome back to the Streets YouTube channel. It's Game Week 4 and we're going to preview and predict these 10 fixtures in this game week. So we're going to start off on the Friday, which is Luton versus West Ham. And one team, obviously being Luton, have only played 2 games so far in the 3 game weeks, and they haven't picked up any points in doing so. West Ham are coming off the back of 2 very good 3-1 victories against Chelsea and Brighton. So many people would think that it's going to be plain and simple game. West Ham should pick up the victory in very good form. Luton, obviously new to the Premier League and are still adjusting and probably haven't got the quality of squad that is required to stay up in the Premier League. But reviewing last week's fixtures and the fixtures before, one thing that I will say is West Ham's victories came against very free-flowing attacking sides in Chelsea and Brighton, which enabled them to sit back, allow pressure and then hit them on the counter-attack. I don't think that's going to be the case against Luton. I think Luton are going to sit in, they're going to be dogged, and I can see them getting their first point of the Premier League here. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. Just plainly because I think that West Ham could struggle to break Luton down, and obviously it's the first game at Kenilworth Road. The crowd's going to be massive for Luton, and I think it could end in a 1-1 draw. On to Sheffield United versus Everton. If Everton Wolves was a 6-pointer last week, this is definitely another 6-pointer this week for Everton. Obviously they rock bottom of the Premier League after 3 games, haven't scored a goal, and they look in trouble already. Sheffield United, on the other hand, they played very well against Manchester City. Yes, it was all Man City for the most part, but they did hold them out and they did manage to get a goal against the reigning Premier League and treble winners. But Everton have recently gone out and signed a forward in Beto from Udinese. He got his first goal in midweek against Doncaster in a 2-1 win, and hopefully he can turn around Everton's fortunes. Obviously it's well renowned that their XG in a majority of their games has actually been really good. They're just lacking that number 9 to put the chances away, and hopefully Beto can be that type of player for them. So I am going to go for a 2-1 Everton win, and it's going to give them their first points and put Sheffield United in massive trouble. Losing against one of their potential relegation rivals at home, and it could be, like I said, a massive 6-pointer for Everton to hopefully kickstart their season. On to Brentford versus Bournemouth, one of the first 3 PM kickoffs on the Saturday, and this could be a tasty game of football. I went and watched Newport versus Brentford in midweek, and I know obviously it was a much changed Brentford side, but they made hard work of it, winning on penalties against the League 2 opposition. Mbuemo and Vissa and the likes had to come on in the second half in order to rescue the game for Brentford. But obviously back in usual surroundings here, I think they should get the job done. I do fancy Bournemouth to have a decent season this year, but I do think their away form will struggle, and I think the majority of their points are going to be picked up at home. So I do think they're going to lose this one. I'm going to predict a 2-0 victory for Brentford, and I think Mbuemo will get on the score sheet again, which will please all FPL fans, I'm sure. Burnley versus Spurs. Another team for Spurs which could potentially be a banana skin. In recent years, this would be a much trickier game for Spurs. Spurs look like they're in very good form, and under Ange Postecoglou look like they're playing an expansive attacking brand of football, which is good to see, considering they had Antonio Conte recently, who loved to play negative football and sit back and try and play on counter-attacks, and it obviously didn't quite work for them. I do think Spurs will win this game. I haven't seen enough from Burnley these first 2 game weeks. I think obviously they will come good. I trust the brand of football that they're trying to play, and I think it really suits the Premier League, but obviously it will take time. It's another level from the Championship, which obviously they've done and won very convincingly. So I think the second half of the season you'll start to see the best of Burnley. Don't think they'll be in massive trouble. I think they'll get the 40 points needed to stay in the Premier League, but I don't think this is going to be one of the games which they're going to fancy their chances. So again, I'm going to go for a 2-0 Spurs victory and continue the Ange Postecoglou hype train. On to Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest. Both teams which are in decent form. Chelsea picked up a 3-0 victory against Luton last game week, and Nottingham Forest were relatively unlucky against Manchester United, going 2-0 up inside 4 minutes and then eventually losing 3-2. It's a typical Manchester United comeback, but they can be proud that they went toe-to-toe with Manchester United, especially before the red card, and could have, on another day, could have nicked something out of the game. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Chelsea win here. I just think Chelsea are going to be too strong for them. Defensively, I think our need could be exposed quite a lot. There's still, obviously, there's still a day to go in the transfer window. Whether Brennan Johnson stays, we will see. He could be off to Spurs, but obviously we've got a day to find out. But I think Chelsea, like I said, will get it done. I think they'll have too much for Nottingham Forest. And like I said, I think it'll be a 2-1 victory. On to Man City versus Fulham. A Fulham team which surprised me against Arsenal. I thought that they were ready to roll over, especially when they went behind 2-1. I thought they got quite lucky, quite fortunate with the opener. Positioning of both Partey vacant on that right back position, and the position of Aaron Ramsdale allowed Pereira to score an early goal for Fulham. But then when they went behind, I thought they were going to effectively curl over and admit defeat, but they didn't. They even went out to 10 men, and they still got the equaliser from Paulinho. He looks like he could be off to Bayern Munich now, which will be a disaster, especially in the last day of the transfer window for Fulham. Might not be able to get a replacement in. Yeah, I do think that type of performance was short-lived. Obviously, they still haven't really replaced Mitrovic, relying on Raul Jimenez. I think Manchester City will win this one comfortably. I'm predicting a 3-0 Manchester City win, and I think Erling Haaland will get back on the score sheet, as he hasn't scored in 2 game weeks. On to Brighton versus Newcastle. 2 teams which have come off the back of quite soul-destroying losses. Brighton had all the play against West Ham, but like I said, West Ham hit them on some good counter-attacks and managed to score 3 goals. And obviously Newcastle went 1-0 up against 10-men Liverpool for the majority of the game and failed to see the game out, and Liverpool came back and won 2-0 with 2 goals from Darwin Núñez. I do think this will be a well-anticipated clash, but obviously only one team can win, and only one team can bounce back from their defeats. But I think it'll be a draw. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw. I expect both teams to come out attacking. They both got very good defences. Webster was very, very poor against West Ham. I think he'll come back to form, and I think obviously Lewis Dunk is usually quite solid. For Newcastle, I think Botman's out injured, so you'll obviously see a change in the centre back pairing there. So it'll be interesting. That's why I think there will be goals, especially for Brighton. But I think Newcastle are such a good side that they have the potential, obviously, to go up the other end and score a few themselves. So 2-2 for me. On to Sunday, and the early fixture here sees Crystal Palace versus Wolves. Wolves obviously got that victory late against Everton. Jose Sarr pulled off a masterclass. I think he made 9 brilliant saves. They were a lot of them very, very top draw, which kept his side in the game. And I think Crystal Palace will put it up to them again. And I think Crystal Palace will come on top of this one, and I think they'll win this game 2-0. I just don't see Jose Sarr keeping them in every single game. I think the quality of the Wolves side is quite poor. So I think Crystal Palace will have enough to go and get that victory. On to Liverpool versus Aston Villa. A game that has saw loads of goals in the past, notably a 7-2 victory for Aston Villa. I think it could be another difficult afternoon for Liverpool. They've obviously lost Van Dijk, Konate's out injured, so it's a brand new centre-back pairing. Reminds me of the 2021 season where they lost their centre-backs and they had to play Aston Villa, which resulted in the 7-2 victory. They still, Endo's yet to really prove if he can settle into this Liverpool side, because every time he's come on, Liverpool have been down to 10 men. So, or obviously started against Newcastle, but they went down to 10 men relatively early, which meant he only had 27 minutes of his tenure so far at Liverpool with 11 men to be able to show what he can really do. So it's yet to see whether he can convince Liverpool fans he's worthy to start in that 6th position for the rest of the season. But obviously they're going to buy Gravenberch. Whether he is a natural 6, I'm not sure. To me, he looks more like an 8, a dynamic midfielder who's probably as explosive as some would say, like Jude Bellingham, a Jude Bellingham type player, as opposed to a Fabinho, a player that'll just sit in front of the back four and shield the ball. So I think it could be a difficult evening for Liverpool. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw. Obviously Liverpool have got one of, if not the most potent attack in the league. They got 5 genuine options they could choose from to go across the front 3. So there's always going to be goals on the side, especially with Szoboszlai linking up with play. McAllister with the ball playing ability to play those killer passes. Trent, if he's on form as he wasn't against Newcastle, able to play those big diags, obviously play those good crosses as well. So I definitely see goals, and like I said, I think it'd be 2-2. I think Aston Villa are good enough to get a result here, especially against a makeshift Liverpool back 4, who you'll probably see Joel Matip and Joe Gomez. Joe Gomez played very well against Newcastle, but it looks like to me Joel Matip is a bit past it. Against Newcastle he was very slow on the ball, made errors in passing, and ultimately invited pressure from the Newcastle team, and which meant Liverpool failed to gain control of the game. So on to the last game, and it's probably the blockbuster of the weekend, and that is Arsenal versus Manchester United. Both teams have failed to get out of 3rd gear so far in the Premier League. I think Arsenal have managed to somewhat scrape victories. Obviously they failed to do so against Fulham, and Manchester United are in a similar situation where they lost convincingly to Spurs, scraped home against who did they play game week 1? I think, who was it? Let me have a look. Wolves, that was it, when Onana should have given away a penalty. Obviously they only lost 1-0, and Manchester United did play very bad. Wolves had 23 shots against Manchester United that day, and on another day Manchester United could easily be at the wrong end of the result in that one. Same going for the Forest game. Obviously they went 2-0 down very early. Did give them enough time to get back into the game. There was obviously a red card there as well, so it will be an interesting game. I expect Arsenal to come out on top, because the recent record for Manchester United at the Emirates is quite poor. They either lose or draw, so I'm going to continue that theme, and I think Arsenal are going to win this game 2-1. So yeah, that is the end of my predictions for Game Week 4. Hopefully your team, whoever you support, comes out on top. And if you have any different opinions of where you think the results will go, anything you think I've said obviously incorrectly, just pop it down in the comment section and I will take it on board, definitely. If you like this video, give it a like. If you like this sort of content, obviously subscribe as well. All I'll be doing is be doing a lot more as the season progresses, and then obviously the season's going forward. This is just the beginning, so yeah, stick around and it'll be a good journey. Anyway, like I said, that's the end of this video. So I will see you in the next one, which will be after the weekend, and it'll be the review of these fixtures. Like I said, hopefully your team comes out on top. Peace.